Hi, my name is Noshed, some of you guys know me as Siobhan, Spurs video podcast. I'm going to talk about the Maribor game tomorrow. Obviously, UEFA League, Europa League. It's not, as some of you guys know, I don't really give a shit about it that much. But given that we have a very important time against Man City on Saturday, and we only have barely a day's rest between that and then going out to Manchester. For me, if he plays Bale and Lennon, that for me should just say fired. Because you cannot ask a footballer. I mean, I don't care how good a footballer is, asking to play competitively, unless he's going to go for fitness. Unless he's purely going for fitness, I am really going to be really pissed if he failed to play all Lennon. My team, and I'm actually going to go because I'm going to shout out to a guy called Wendy Spurs, and he's a very good blogger. He writes on 24, and he goes to a lot of the youth team games. And he even talking about the reasons that we are very frustrated with Sigurdsson and Dempsey, and it's something I've talked about. They're not possession style players. They are, they're kind of runner players. Simply put, I wouldn't put Gerrard behind a forward. He's not. That's not his position. His position is coming from midfield. And I think Dempsey and I'm not comparing Dempsey Sigurdsson to Gerrard, but if you look at the style of players, they're not possession footballers. These are players who are much better at shooting, passing, but they're not going to play the give and goes. They're not going to play the reverse passes. They're not going to ghost pass players and play a slip, through ball. That's not the kind of players they are. For me, I'd play 4-2-3 on 4-3-3, and this would be Carl Norton. I think he needs to start. Carl Walker, as quick as he is, hasn't got. I think Carl Norton for me is much closer in terms of style to Charlie, and I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays, especially with Dempsey ahead of him. Dempsey will be in my three, and alongside Hudson and Carroll. Across the back four will be Dawes, Colcutt, and Vertonghen. I don't want to play him at left back, but until Benny's fit enough to play at left back, then I'll have to play Vertonghen there. And then in the three and up front will be Andros and Falque on either side of Adebayor. And the other player I'd look to try and get on if we have time allows, Ryan Mason, and then go to 4-2-3-1. Again, probably keeping on Andros and Falque, and just putting Ryan Mason in that number 10 spot. And behind someone like Cameron Lancaster. I really don't give a shit about this Europa League. I know he cares about it, but for me, the way he cares about it is very similar to the way. If those of you guys remember this, but Ramos was playing Ledley King, who could only once a week in the UEFA tournaments, in the UEFA Cup as it was then, and we're going, are you crazy? Even Jonathan Woodgate was questioning that, saying, wait a minute, you've got to play in the league. That's our bread and butter. That's what makes us our money. Ramos didn't really pay attention, or he didn't listen, didn't understand, and he was duly fired. I don't want Villa Spurs to be fired. I think he has a lot to offer. But I do think that we do need to sort this out. And the team, I think we're very unsettled. Obviously, since Messi missed that penalty, and then Arjen Robben missed that penalty, and we've really been in a really unsettled position. We haven't been able to buy the players in, because if someone said to look at say Chelsea when they beat us last week, 2 weeks ago, they had Mata, Hazard, and Oscar, three players who we were linked with. Obviously, Chelsea have Champions League, and plus they can blow us out of the water money-wise. And the other thing you got to remember is that they can afford to buy 25 million. They bought, what was it, Shevchenko for 30 odd million. Didn't play him. Same with Veron. Same with Crespo. They can eat losses on the transfer budgets. We can't. So we have to be very, very careful with the money we spend. So I was going, leave your checkbook out. Now people saying, oh, it's just extra 2 million. 2 million. It's a lot of money. £2 million. Just think about it. Someone on the lottery, years ago, and they'd have been 2 million. Well, that's a fair bit of buns there. You don't have to work again. You buy about 4 or 5 houses. Live for the rent for life, and you'll be set. And that's the thing. £2 million is a shitload of money, and I can understand them chomping over change about that. Obviously, it's regrets. I've had a few, but Levy has to do it his way, and this is the thing, and I'm going to go this well because I'm going to give a shout out to my coach Eddie and another Johnny Silman, and I think because they both run martial arts schools, and the thing that I say is this: the captain of the ship has to run the ship the way he sees fit. he has to run the ship the way he sees fit. He can take counsel, but ultimately it's his decisions because the buck stops with him. Because ultimately the captain goes down with the ship. You know? And so it's his decisions. And so I've got a fat Villas-Boas. For me, one of the things that I understand that sometimes you have a system and the need to be very, very, rigid with your system. And I can understand. I get that. Why some players are very, very rigid with their, coaches are very rigid with their way of thinking. Harry was very, Harry didn't like any of that shit. Oh, go on, fucking run about a bit. Set pieces. I wouldn't get to practice those. I think Man City found out last night what happens if you don't practice set pieces. And they're gonna have their wind up this odds. They felt legitimately denied a legitimate penalty. I thought they should be given a penalty if that's a foul within normal time. And the referee doesn't blow for it. The referee said, "Look, that happened at the end of that happened after the snap, kind of thing." Then it's not a penalty. If it happened before, it's a penalty. And they had a couple of decisions go against them. But look, I'm not going to say I'm not really unhappy about that because I think Man City have brought their way to the top. But there are legitimate grievances, and unfortunately, that will come back to bite us on the arse on Saturday. I'm hoping that we can do something about it, and hoping we can win our games on Saturday. I very much doubt it, but we need a fit Adebayor. We need a sharp JD. For me, I'd start those two up front. I really would. I'd start those two up front. I actually would go 4-4-2. I'd actually put Huddleston a little more. Huddleston. I'm assuming Sandro's. Hopefully Sandro. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything on the news now or anything like that about Sandro. But if he's not injured, I actually would play Sandro and Carroll. You need someone that can help retain possession. You need someone as a metronome in there, and he'll need a minder, and Sandro will be an excellent minder. Huddleston, his passing has been very, very suspect the last few weeks, and say he's obviously somewhat his foot in because he's not fit, but when your passing is poor, I think it's the best bit of your game. And look, this is a player that we would have sold to Stoke, and possibly, let's face it, we bought Moutinho, he would have been like, that's it, you're off to Stoke. They didn't want to sign him because of injuries and everything like that, but I just personally feel that he's never going to make his mark. He's 26, 25, 26. Still got time, I guess. But for me, I think he was 18. He was 18 when he joined us, so he's 24. So he's still got time. But I think, something doesn't seem right about Huddleston. I don't know. I don't think he's in there. And I'll play a flat back four. Again, just play 4-4-2. Just go back to the old fashioned. I really think, look, there are guys. Major Hank, Super Spurs, Wendy Comedy Spurs, and don't know more about football than I ever will. And hopefully, one day, they'll be doing YouTube podcasts, and I don't want to say I'm going to do a Lisa Scott Lee, as in I'll quit. They like doing them, but you just see the difference. They're a lot more knowledgeable than I ever will be. But I think we do need to see a change. I think flexibility is very, very important. Sometimes it's all great to have a system. And yet, my player who plays the system, Glenn Hoddle was all about systems. He was very much of a systems tactics manager. Is he managing a football team now? No. The best managers have a combination of both tactical knowledge and tactical flexibility, man management and flexibility as well. I think it's they get that balance right. And it's all about being balanced, and we don't have that balance there. And it starts from the top. I think playing 4-4-2 and say, look, I think we need to do this. And I'd actually go, back four. So Connell has a great game. I'd keep him there. I'd have Corker and Vertonghen in the middle, and I'd have, hopefully if Benny can come back, Benny at left back. If not, I'd hate to say it, but I guess it would have to be Gallus, I guess, and Corker and Vertonghen at left back, and Hugo Lloris in goal. We've got the French number one. He's an excellent. There's a difference between a good goalkeeper and a very good goalkeeper. For Alfredo is a good goalkeeper. Hugo Lloris is a very good goalkeeper, and distribution-wise, we just haven't got a clue. We keep hoofing it up there. Lloris will give us much better distribution, and even if he's going to hoof it, hopefully Adebayor will start. We saw on Saturday that when we got into we attacked them on the flanks, but there was no one taking the ball out there. Dempsey's not going to. Dempsey makes those late runs, but he's not going. He's not a centre forward. And I think a little and a large combination, I think, will work very, very well. I think we do need to start doing this. I think, look, I'm begging Villas-Boas to be a bit more flexible, and I think that's what we need. And I think, at the end of the day, it would have been nice to be in the UEFA Cup final come May. But you know what? We're not there. And someone said to me, and I ask you, I'll be honest to yourselves, would you rather have fourth, the Wenger Cup, as many as those twats on the Hotspur podcast call it, or fifth, and and be in the final of the FA Cup and the UEFA Cup? You pick your poison. For me, it's Champions League. I'm sad to say it's not. It's about chasing the cash. Yeah, it's about chasing the cash. It's about being in the Champions League, playing at the highest level. If you can play at the highest level in the Champions League, you can get some of the better players, and you can keep some of the best players, and that's it. And if you don't, you don't have to agree with it. You want to keep your myopic views and your head up your ass? Fuck it, you do that. Me personally, I want to be in the Champions League again, because if you look at how well we did, we were third. I mean, people go, "Oh, Man City, they got a really good. They got a tough whole group." We had Inter Milan. We were in group three. We had Inter Milan, the European champions. We had the Dutch champions, and we had a very good German side in Werder Bremen. And then what do? We won all our home games. We only lost once away, and that was when we were down 10 men, and we were 4-0 down. And Gareth Bale had that moment of magic. Those 10 minutes, 10 minutes in heaven or something. And then, if the time hadn't run out, we could have got a fourth. I honestly do believe, I want to see Spurs back there. I want to see Spurs back in the Champions League. I think we deserve to be there. If it wasn't for some Martin Fulop or Arjen Robben or, Lionel Messi missing penalties, we would have been there. And it wasn't for Harry Redknapp chasing some dreams of England. But it just didn't happen. Let's deal with it, let's move on. And for that, I'm sorry to disagree, and like I said, play 4-3-3, play the kids like Ryan Mason, play the kids like Andros and Iago and what's his name, Cameron Lancaster. They'll get competitive football, and even if they get 90 minutes, someone will say, "Do you know what? I fancy to look at him. I'll take him on loan in January." And they play, say, 3 games, because we've got 3 games: Panathinaikos, Lazio, and Maribor. Let's get our kids, because for me, the UEFA Cup's a lost cause now. It really is. Let's play our kids in there now. If we had won against Lazio and if we'd beaten Panathinaikos, then I would have said differently. But right now, with the fixtures we've coming up, we've got Man City, Arsenal, West Ham, Liverpool. We should have won. Against Wigan. We didn't, because we didn't deserve to win against Wigan. So we have to make up these points. We need to get in that 4th spot. You call it the Wenger Cup, call it the Wenger Cup. I call it being in the Champions League. And I'd rather be in the Champions League, consistently and building our position. And so hopefully, by the time 2016 comes around, we're not only are we good enough to be in the Champions League without that super stadium, we can then really mount a serious title challenge, because we've got that big ass stadium. Like I said, if you don't agree, fucking hell, don't disagree with me. That's not a problem. If you want to hear, some really stupid rhyme poem on some other podcast, please, by all means, listen to that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and give it what I say. I want to say the future's bright. I want to say the future's lily white. But that's, I believe in that. I believe Tottenham all the way. But I'm also a pragmatic, and we have to be in the Champions League. Hopefully, January. Who knows? Maybe we can go for Moutinho. We might have to overbid. Anyway, we did. We did Brian, Jermaine Defoe. We had to bring in Robbie Keane back, and we, somehow we managed to, secure. I think we were away from relegation, but we thankfully finished in the top half, and we could have done a lot better. We could have even qualified for Europe. We didn't. Thank heavens, we didn't qualify for Europe, and we got that incredible Champions League spot against Man City, and I was, like I said, that's probably my most proudest moments, that City game. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this Spurs video podcast. I'm deciding whether to go to Jiu-Jitsu tonight or to watch some Champions League football. I know it'll kill me for probably not going to Jiu-Jitsu, but I don't know, I've had a really good session today in Jiu-Jitsu, so I'm kind of grateful for it. And I remember, turn my ankle. And just want to say big shout out to all the guys that follow me on Twitter. Sam Hotspur, Silver Ace Titan, Afghan Spurs. This is Remembrance Week. Please buy a puppy. Support our troops. And Windy Come On You Spurs. And on Facebook, I'm going to give a shout out to Jeremy Kinsella, who's a good mate of mine, and Peter Molnar, and a guy called Dominic. And fantastic guys. Check out Spurs.co.uk. He's always on there. And on that bombshell, I will bid you adieu. And please, I just ask you to click on the ad links and tweet me, FB me, retweet this, share this around, share the love, and click on the ad links. And as always, come on, you Spurs.